Okay, well, that's not too bad.
No,
Okay.
that's not bad. A lot of people get confused about it, but that's not bad at all.
Excellent, very good. Okay, well, the first thing is, so I just am now reading about you, and you have a fascinating background for Miss Washington. So why don't we start there? Why don't you tell us a bit about yourself and your something about your background that makes you pretty distinctive for your standard Washingtonian, I think.
Well, I moved to the United States 8 years ago. I am a former resident of Ukraine, so I have that background. And I moved here and I waited 5 years to become a citizen. That's how long it takes for the paperwork to get through. And then once you get that started, it takes one more year. And so then I became a citizen after 5 or 6 years. And that made me eligible to compete in the pageant, the Miss USA pageant, because you have to be a legal citizen. There's so many different rules that you have to follow.
Yeah.
So there's that background that I have, but I know Russian, I know Ukrainian, and I know English. But at this point, when I'm going to be going to WSU, I want to start learning some Spanish. I already have a little bit of knowledge in Spanish, so I want to continue. The United States is what, 50 million? Latin Hispanic, so I mean this is the second most used language, so I think it would be useful to know it.
Wow. Now, are you a natural at languages since you already know three, I guess?
They say that after your second language it gets easier. I never really tried learning English. I mean, I just watched TV, watched The Simpsons when I was a kid, and it made it work.
Really?
But I think I'll have to put some effort into it once I'll actually get to college and start learning Spanish. I'm a little bit older now, so it takes a little bit more effort, but I think I can handle it.
So, did you know English before you got here?
No,
Wow.
I didn't. But I think it was easier for me to pick it up because I was 12, 13. As I was growing up, I was in high school, so I was immersed in this English-speaking environment, though I was shy at first. I was shy for about a year or two. I would know English, but I would not want to speak it because I didn't want to make mistakes. But there came a point I was like, you know what? You're just going to have to make mistakes and just get over it. So that's how I learned it.
And how did the students that you, where did you go to school, by the way?
Evergreen High School. I'm from Vancouver. I'm 3 hours south.
Okay.
So I went to Evergreen and Heritage. I switched after 2 years.
So everybody. I mean, so your middle school and high school years were spent here. Those are tough years for everybody. How was it? How much tougher was it because you were an immigrant? You were learning a new language. I mean,
it was a little bit, but I was lucky enough to move into a city where there are also immigrants and where my cousins lived. And so I had a few Russian friends at my own high school and at my own middle school. So that helped me out a little bit. I actually attended one of those ESL classes where you stay in that class for about half a year or a year depending on your English progression.
Yeah.
So, and then once I got to high school, I was there for half a year and then my teacher kicked me out. She's like, "You're too good. You can go." And I cried. I didn't want to leave because I had my friends there. And she put me in a regular English class, but it was worth it.
Wow.
It only made my English that much better.
Yeah. Now, so I'm just trying to imagine the international scene. When you left the Ukraine, what was life like in the Ukraine at the time? I mean, the Soviet Union had disbanded.
It's difficult, and that's part of the reason why we did come to the United States. In terms of finding a job or getting an education, it's 10 times a lot harder than you would do it here. Here, as long as you put the effort into whatever it is that you're doing, people will help you out. In Ukraine, you can work 24/7 and you will still have very little. So that's why we came to the United States.
Wow. And the last question about the Ukraine. So if you were 12 when you moved here, though, you must have strong childhood memories. What's the thing?
Oh, absolutely. I maintain all of my Ukrainian traditions, and especially with my family because we speak Russian at home.
Really?
And so yeah, we don't really
Wow.
speak English. We still try to remember our language because after so many years, it's easier to forget.
Yeah.
So I enjoy my Russian food. I love it.
Yeah.
We cook Russian food all the time. We barely eat junk food. It kind of helps me stay in shape, but I love my European food.
Is that right? So can you what's a classic Russian or Ukrainian dish that you revel
I can
in?
give you the name, but I don't know if that would do much. But
Okay.
my favorite, and it's not really good for a pageant diet, but my favorite, it's called pельмени. Okay, so what that is that it's unleavened dough and it has meat inside of it, but meat with spices and everything, and then you make it into this. You would just have to try it. It's very hard to explain. Like, how do you explain? It's just you have to see, you have to try it. It's amazing.
And are there people in Vancouver area that actually make that? I mean, are there?
Oh, absolutely.
That's
the dish. If there's ever a celebration, if there's ever a birthday or any kind of party, and it's a Russian party or, okay, let's put it, a Slavic party, that dish will be there. That's
Yeah.
like a signature dish.
And how did you end up in Washington? How is the terrain around Vancouver in any way similar to the Ukraine, or how is it that you ended up there?
We're actually on the same. What's that one? Parallel, right? Yeah. So Ukraine and Washington is actually on the same
Latitudes,
latitude. That's
Yeah.
sort of like, see, there goes my English. On the same latitude. So we're actually on the same latitude. So the weather is pretty much the same.
Huh.
But the reason why we're up here is that our relatives were here, so they helped us out. I mean, you're moving to a different country. You probably want to move
Yeah.
next to someone you know. So that's how we ended up in Washington. And the West Coast is actually pretty saturated with Europeans.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's good to hear. So here's the thing about what you are. You are Miss Washington. You are representing the state of our state. You are hoping to represent our entire country to be Miss USA. Is that like a dream come true for you? Since
Absolutely,
you're
absolutely.
Okay.
I've been
How so?
following. I've been watching these pageants for years and years. I don't even know how I started watching them. Honestly, it goes that far back.
Yeah.
And looking at those women that are on stage and with their grace and elegance and poise, but at the same time they're so strong and they have emotional strength as well. I mean, answering questions in front of thousands and millions of people, that has to take a little bit of character. So looking at them, it was just an honor to compete at state, let alone represent my entire state. And my first thought when I won was, oh my goodness, I'm going to Miss USA. It's me. I'm going to Miss. Those are my thoughts, and I kept thinking about that over and over and over and over again.
Yeah, and the thing is that the knock against pageants, I think, is that people think they overemphasize the beauty, the looks portion.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think that's the common misunderstanding about pageants, is that we are only about looks. I wouldn't say that. Of course,
It doesn't
we
hurt.
don't. No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't hurt. Absolutely, it doesn't hurt. But people are forgetting that we are intelligent. We are dedicated. We go to schools. We volunteer in our communities. If anything, our interview process is so intense. They always ask us about the current events and what is your opinion on that, because they want a Miss USA who knows how to communicate her thoughts clearly, but also not offend anyone at the same time, because she's representing the United States, and there's going to be different people with different opinions.
That's right.
And they definitely want you to match that. So
Yeah.
we're smart girls, but we're also dedicated girls, so it's not just about the looks.
So I read that, again, doing the research, that you compete in the swimsuit level, the gown level, and the interview
and the
level.
interview,
Do you
yes.
think that any one of those categories is your strength, or the one you're proudest of?
I think the interview you would like the most, because you actually get to share a little bit about yourself. And the interview is where you can really set yourself apart from everyone else, because all the girls are gorgeous, all of them have amazing bodies, all of them have amazing gowns. But the one I am actually excited about is the swimsuit competition, because it took weeks, if not months, to get ready in that shape. So I'm ready to show how much I worked.
Yeah, oh, that's good. Well, that's embrace it. Now, here's the thing about
Of course, absolutely. It's all about the attitude.
yeah. Now,
Swimsuit is one from the neck up, by the way.
say that again.
Swimsuit is one from the neck up.
Oh, very good look. I like it. Now, here's the thing about pageants. How well do you get along with the other contestants? I mean, do you guys see yourself like you're like mirror images of yourself, or are you struck at why am I in this group of young
We
women?
actually do have a lot of things in common. The biggest one is we're all competing for the same title. But my roommate from Miss USA, I actually got to meet her a couple of days ago. The first time we met, we were up till 3 in the morning just talking, just because we had so many things in common. So the misunderstanding with pageants is that there's a cat fight going on.
Yeah.
Nothing like that. We're all friends. I mean, of course, sometimes somebody may have their bad day, because if you're there for 3 weeks, you will get a little tired. But for the most part, we're all excited to be there. We're all friends, and what happens is that years after, we still maintain our connections and we still remain friends.
Yeah. The thing is, you must also eye your competition.
I think, I keep on telling myself is that it's not about which girl that is the best. It's about me being the best. And so I always remind myself that there's people that closer to the competition, they'll start making their top 15 lists or whatnot, or who's stronger, who's not.
Yeah.
I don't ever pay attention to those. It's about me putting myself in the best form ever, mentally, physically, emotionally. So I don't really pay attention to that because it's not about them, it's about me.
Yeah. Do you now? Is there a Miss Ukraine? Can you, if you had?
There is a Miss Ukraine that will be competing at Miss Universe.
Okay.
So there's the winner of Miss USA goes on to Miss Universe. But from what I know is that in the past couple of years, the winners of Miss Ukraine, they actually attended the Miss USA pageant. They were here in the United States. So I'm hoping to see her at our pageant. I'd love to talk to her, somebody who speaks your own language.
Well, exactly. I mean, you talk about how much you have in common with the other contestants in this country. Imagine if you had a chance to.
Miss Ukraine.
Yes, that would be great.
That would be. I hope she's gonna be here so I can meet her and talk to her.
One of the things about the Miss USA that's given it a kind of higher profile than it might have had, a few decades ago, was that Donald Trump now is in charge of it. So what's your take? Donald Trump, speaking of, Donald Trump is a controversial character, but he's also known.
Oh, there he is on TV right now.
Worldwide. Oh, that's perfect.
Speaking of Donald Trump.
You can't escape him. What's your take on Donald Trump? And I don't imagine if you were 12, you probably knew who Donald Trump is before you came to this state.
No, I didn't.
So Donald Trump, tell me about him.
He's very opinionated, and he will voice his opinions, but at the same time, he decided not to run for president, but he said that he will stay in the public eye and he will keep bringing attention to various issues going on in the United States. I think it makes sense for him to stay with his business because it's been successful for so many years, but I'm really looking forward to meeting him. That's one of the things that we're gonna do on Miss USA. So I'm really looking forward to actually talking to him one-on-one, see what he's in real life, not what we see on TV.
Yeah. Are you at all disappointed that he's not decided not to run? Because he just recently decided just yesterday that he wasn't going to.
Well, I think it's better for him. I think if he was to run, it's a time commitment. If he were to run for president, he would have to set everything aside that he already has. So he has The Apprentice, he has his real estate business, he co-owns the Miss USA. So all those businesses, he would have to set them aside. And that's a lot. I would have to say that's a lot. So maybe it is a smart move on his part to remain with what he's doing, but still stay in the public eye and just kind of bringing attention to certain problems.
Yeah. You mentioned that because you have to represent everyone, the idea is to say something intelligent without sort of offending people.
Of course.
Now that's tricky. In the world of politics, occasionally politics sort of enters, into these competitions at the interview stage. How comfortable in the world of politics are you, or do you feel like you're not partisan enough, so whatever political stance you would have would be?
I'm neither Republican nor Democrat. People ask me who would I vote for, and at this point, well, first of all, my teenage years in the United States, I didn't really know any English, and a cultural thing with Ukrainians is that in Ukraine we didn't really pay attention to politics. So it's only as I started growing up that I started paying attention to everything that goes on.
Uh-huh.
But for me, it's not so much about the one party or the other, but it's the one that makes sense the most. So whichever party or whichever candidate has the best agenda and has the best solutions for the current problems, those are the people that I'm going to be voting for. I'm not one of those people that are so loyal they're going to be voting for the same candidate even if they're taking the wrong steps. I'm not like that. It has to be someone who makes sense, and that's someone that I'll vote for.
And relatively recently in one of the pageants, someone got in a lot of, I don't know if trouble's the right word, but there was a big media to-do because she said something about gay marriage. Is that an arena that you would like to venture forth? Do you have an opinion on gay marriage?
Well, I think gay marriage at this point is that everyone has their choice as to who they want to live with, and what creates harmony in society is that we choose, or we respect each other's opinions. We live in a country with 300 million or even more than that at this point, and not everybody thinks the same, and we have to accept the fact that not everybody is going to be living the same lifestyle, but the only way we're going to remain as a strong country is that we choose to respect each other's opinions. So gay marriage is just one of those things. If somebody wants to get married, if they want to be in a gay marriage, let them. If it doesn't influence your life directly, if it's not part of your, why should it matter to you? So it's about respecting each other's lifestyles, I think. If nobody's getting hurt, why not?
Very good. And something, based on what you just said, I read in your bio, I think, up from the pageant, that you have expectations of maybe becoming a marriage counselor.
Possibly, yes.
So,
I am.
so what is the interest? And if you can give us a little marital advice, even though you're not married, I assume, or you couldn't be running for.
You actually can't be married when you're in a family. You can't be married. You can't have a child. You can't have. They want you to be available to do the job.
There you go.
Miss Washington or any other.
So, but from a step removed, what kind of do you have any general observations about marital life or marital strife or?
I do, and if there's one, I would just say that some people get married because they love each other. Love is not an emotion. It's a commitment. It's a commitment that you make day to day, and that's what's gonna make your marriage stay. And people have to remind themselves every day. I remember reading a quote when I was at Twitter or something. Where would our marriages be if we set our wedding vows every single morning? So it's about your commitment. It's not so much about emotions, because everyone's going to have bad days, but you can't let that get in the way of your relationships. Well, it's not even just marriage, it's any relationship in general. We are going to have our bad days. We're going to get upset. We're going to get mad, but that doesn't mean that we don't necessarily love someone. It's just emotions. So the only way a marriage is going to sustain, or any other relationship, is that you realize that it's a choice. It's not an emotion.
Very good. You know, I've been saying for years, this gets off your topic, but that the one common denominator that successful marriages or long-standing marriages have, it's not, the same background, not the same religion, not the same. It's the commitment to stay married or not, whether that's a value.
Exactly.
Okay.
And
I vote for you.
Thank you. You can actually vote online for the Miss USA contestants for one of them to be in top 15 this year. And this is the first year they're doing it. It's the 60th anniversary this year, so they're bringing back all the formers. They're inviting all the former winners, and they're gonna put on this amazing show this year. And so they are letting the public vote for one of the contestants to be in the top 15, and you can do that through going to the Miss USA website or the NBC website.
And when can you vote?
You can actually vote right now.
Right now.
And
all right.
You can already vote. They've posted additional pictures of girls, not just our professional headshots, but our activities and our hobbies, so people can learn a little bit more about us. And you can also, after the preliminary competition, which will be on June 15th, that is a Wednesday, after the preliminary competition, 11 p.m. Eastern time, you are actually going to be able to text in your votes. And so that information will also be available around that time. So people are voting this year to have one of the girls to be in the top 15.
Very good.
Yeah.
And
so there's your chance.
There we go. That's right. And I'm going to throw you a question. I don't know if you've heard this morning's news or not, but since I've
been driving, so we'll see.
Okay, well then I can just set it up then, since you have aspirations of being a marriage counselor. It was just revealed today in the LA Times that Arnold Schwarzenegger had.
I just heard that walking down the hall.
Really? Okay, he just had a love child who's now 10 years old, with somebody who has been part of their wait staff or something. I mean, their staff at home. They've now separated, although this news came out after we understood they were separated. But what a mess. Do you have anything to say about that kind of situation? You talk about a commitment every day. Well, there was at least one day where he didn't quite follow through on a commitment, and now it's like, how do you fix something like that, or is it possible?
I think it would be. I think on her part, and me as a woman myself, I almost feel like I would make the same decision as she does, because it's a very difficult situation to not only be involved in an affair, but to also have a child that resulted from that affair. But I think on his part, he still has to be supporting that child, because that is his child. But I don't know what he has to do to get his wife back with him. But because me as a woman, if I learn that somebody has been going someplace else, of course it would be very difficult, and of course marriage is not the same at that point. So it is about the commitment, but you have to do it every day before you even leave your house, so that you can make sure that you can avoid those type of situations. Not afterwards, like, oh, by the way, we're going to try to stick together now. You should remind yourself that before you even go anywhere. That's
excellent advice. Okay, and now, from the personal point of view, what is the what's the worst thing or the hardest thing about what you're doing, the competition aspect?
In the pageant world
Yeah,
or in general?
No, in the pageant world, yeah.
I think, well, at Miss USA, we're going to be there for 3 weeks. And it's early mornings and late nights, and so you always have to be on, you always have to be ready to go, lots of energy, lots of smiles. And so I think the hardest part about that, it's not even about looking pretty or having the best body, it's just having that emotional endurance. And you are going to get worn out emotionally a little bit by the end of those 3 weeks. So I think that is the hardest part of the competition, actually. But the reason why they do that is because that's what a Miss USA year looks like. And if you can't get through those 3 weeks, how are you going to get through the rest of the 49 weeks?
Yeah, exactly.
So,
and that's when this pageant ends up. Imagine the best case scenario and imagine the worst case scenario. Your life continues. Where do you see yourself in like 5 or 10 years? I mean, you project that far ahead?
Of course.
Go.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, go for it.
I always have. Actually, in order to compete for a pageant, I was preparing for this title for a good 3-4 years. So I was thinking about it way in advance. And so I always think about life in advance because our present and our future are not disconnected. Everything that you do now will have an impact. But either way, the best scenario that you said would be winning Miss USA, and so then I would the organizations that I'm working with right now, I would support them and take them to a national level. But the worst case scenario is that you don't win Miss USA. Here's the thing, there's actually a statistic: you are twice as likely to have a son who plays in the Super Bowl than a daughter who goes to Miss USA. So even if you don't win Miss USA, it's quite the privilege to actually go and be a part of the entire experience. And I don't think any of the girls going back home from Vegas are going to go home the same. And it just gives you so many opportunities. If anything, it gives you an opportunity to grow internally and to take in this whole experience and see what you learned and see how it transformed you.
Yeah, very good. And so at the college, are you in college now?
Taking a year off right now because of my duties as Miss
Sure.
Washington USA and everything else that goes on. This is not the only thing happening in my life. So I have a family, of course. And I'm taking a year off right now from college because I want to focus on the title. I want to make sure that I did my best. Like I said earlier, it's not about who's doing what. It's about you doing your best. So I'm putting all my effort and all my energy into it. But after that, I will start my school again at WSU in Vancouver in August.
And so you will be a cougar when you graduate.
Yes. Yeah, well, a cougar. I'm not going to be a cougar, not literally. I'm not going to be a cougar. But
This coming from a proud husky, I think we can
well, I
battle back
actually
and
had
forth.
my interview in a different news station. He was a cougar, so he was fine. And now you're a husky. Okay, let's
I'll
not
still
get
root for
personal
you.
here. It's about education. It's not about the school.
That's right. And then finally, I think, what is it about you that you think that the pageant doesn't do a good job of tapping? I mean, what is, how every job, like I love my job, but there's certain aspects or facets of my personality that this job can't tap just because it's not appropriate. What is it that is about, what is there about you that we're not getting, despite all of your, your glamour and your poise and everything you say? Is there, what's something about your personality or who you are that we can't see listening to you and looking at you?
I think it's from the looks. It's like a lot of people actually say that when I don't smile that I look mean. I don't know. But anyways, but a lot of people don't know what my plans are for my life and what I care about, what are the causes that I'm working with. And as a Miss Washington USA, you get that little bit of chance to bring attention to those different organizations. I volunteer with the AWARE organization, and it's based in Clark County. And we go to different schools, different middle schools, high schools, and we talk to students about relationships, actually.
Really?
We do, and we talk about various things that can affect those relationships, and we even cover security issues, things such as sexting. There are middle schools engaging in that, and I was actually speaking at one of the middle schools where there was 3 students. It's a school of 300 students, small school, but there was 3 that were convicted of sexting, and at that age, you're facing the law. So we are trying to let them know of everything that could possibly come their way if they're in any relationship. So I really enjoy being a part of that organization. And as a Miss Washington USA, I've been able to spread the word a little bit, if you may. But I think just by looking at me, you wouldn't know what I care about the most, and that's a little hard. But I do enjoy the fact that we do have an interview, and
Yeah.
in the interview, you do get a little bit of time to kind of share about yourself. And so, it's not your looks, it's not your body that sets you aside from everyone else, but it's your personality and what you have to bring.
Yeah. And is there anything I haven't asked you? This has been a nice long interview. Anything I haven't asked you wish I had, or anything you'd like to add?
Well, I could just say that Miss USA is June 19th. It will be televised on NBC at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. So it's Father's Day, if it makes it easier to remember. So make sure to watch. That's when they'll reveal who is going to be the 15th semifinalist voted in by the public.
Voted in.
So, and go and let your friends know to vote for their favorite contestant or whatnot.
And it's in Vegas, right?
It's in Vegas.
Have you been to Las Vegas before?
I haven't. I'm actually glad that I'm 21. That now I don't have to have a parent signing. I'm an independent person because a lot of the appearances that I would do, I would not be able to do them had I not been 21. So this is the perfect timing for me to be in Miss Washington USA.
Very good. Well, listen, good luck.
Well,
and congratulations so
Thank
far,
you
and
so
good luck in
much.
the future. It's been great talking to you.
You too.